Hi, this is Les Levine, the self-proclaimed voice of truth and reason in Ohio sports. After last night's NBA boycotts, I heard a sports talker ask a guest if he'd ever seen anything like this before in sports. What kind of dumb question is that? The guy who asked that question ought to have his sports talk host business card revoked. There's never been anything like this in sports or anything else, nor will there be anything like this in the near future. A question like that proves only one thing to aspiring sports talkers. Just spend 2 years in a small market before honing your craft before you move on to the major market. At least 2 years. We've got Mary Kay Cabot, More Sports, and Les Levine is on the air. There's no audio. From the worldwide headquarters of More Sports and Les Levine, it's a Thursday night. Good evening, everyone, as we wrap up the week. More Sports and Les Levine, powered by cleveland.com. Mary Kay Cabot is here. She's with, of course, the Plain Dealer and cleveland.com. Mary Kay, this has been a week maybe unlike any other week in the history of sports. Are we done? Is the week almost over?
Yeah, it has been really something else. Just to even, go out to Browns practice today, and have the discussion be all about, what they were going to do in the arena of social justice and all the things that that they went through today to cut their practice down in half to 1 hour so that they could go inside and do whatever it takes to make sure that they are impacting this community in a positive way. It's just really like nothing we've ever seen before in sports, or at least nothing I've ever seen before.
So who's actually running that? I mean, this kind of came up quick, obviously, because of last night with the NBA. So who's actually running the show out there from the social media part?
Well, you know what? There are 11 players that are involved with the Social Justice Committee. I think Myles Garrett has taken quite a leadership role in it. That's the way that it sounded today. It's almost like he is the chairperson of the committee, basically. And he got on the Zoom call with us today, and he was sort of the spokesperson for the whole thing. And he did a tremendous job with that in articulating how these guys feel, what they're trying to accomplish, and what they hope to do going forward.
Is this just the Cleveland teams right now in the different sports, or is it all of sports that Myles is involved in?
I think that he's mostly heading up the Browns Social Justice Committee, but there is now a lot of collaboration amongst the different teams, especially the alliance they formed this morning between the Browns, the Cavs, and the Indians. So I'm sure that players from all the different teams will probably get together and do some things, and I think they have done a few things like that in the past. So I definitely think that we will see more of that.
Mary Kay, I'm guessing when you went to sportscasting, radio, TV, and newspapers, they didn't have this as one of the courses.
No, actually, they did not. And who could have foreseen this? And it's unfortunate that here we are in the year 2020 and that we are having to deal with these kinds of things. It's unfortunate. It's sad. And I'm grateful that teams and players are using their platform for all of this good. And I just hope so much reform and change comes from it.
Yeah, we all do. All right, so what is going on football-wise out in Berea as we head toward almost here with the opening day, assuming no catastrophes take place? What's physically happening out there?
Well, they were in pads today, and, they got a lot of guys back, so that was good. They had a number of guys that returned to action. Terrence Mitchell came back. David Njoku was back, although he didn't really do anything. Chad Thomas was back, who suffered a neck injury the other day. So, it was good to see some guys back out there. There's a couple of guys that still aren't there, and it's a concern. Greedy Williams isn't out there. And, obviously, starting cornerback, big role for him to play. The nickelback, M.J. Stewart's still not out there, Kevin Johnson. So they're still thin in the secondary, and I'm sure that I'm sure that Baltimore is keeping an eye on that.
You know, you mentioned some names out there. I thought some of them were already considered gone, at least for the first week or two. But that's somewhat encouraging that some of these guys will be back.
Well, I'm not too sure. Like Kevin Johnson, for instance, he's the one that suffered, obviously, the lacerated liver.
Yeah.
There is some talk that he could be back early in the season. I don't think he'll be back for the opener, but he could miss a game or two and come back after that.
All right, so is anybody wheeling and dealing in the front office or looking for players, or are they going to go with what they got?
No, I think they're wheeling and dealing and looking at things. And the hard part is you can't just bring a guy in the way that you used to. Now you have to go through the COVID-19 protocol before you can bring a player in, even for a workout or a tryout. So there's a lot involved with that, and it's just it just takes a while to make these things happen now.
All right, the Browns signed a center today, John Toth. What do we know about him, or what will we know about him?
Well, he's a developmental project. This doesn't mean anything about J.C. Treader. J.C. Treader had the knee scope about a month before the opener on August 13th, and he'll try to come back, but that's cutting it kind of close. Those are usually 4 to 6 week recoveries, so it will take him a little while. Now, knowing J.C. Treader, he'll do everything that he can to be on that field on September 13th in Baltimore. If he can't do it, Nick Harris will be there. So John Toth is really just a developmental center to have behind Nick Harris.
You know, I don't get a good feeling about that when you say about Treader that he wants to get on there and get going a little early. It's a long season. He's got a lot of pressure on him. If they lose him if he doesn't start at the beginning and he comes back in a couple of weeks, that's not the worst thing in the world. I hope they're really, and he is really careful about this comeback routine.
Yeah, it's a little easier when you play center to maybe come back from a scope than it would be, obviously, to play tight end or receiver or something like that, because he doesn't really have to get out there and run too much. However, this is a wide zone scheme. This is a scheme that requires some mobility and agility from your offensive linemen. They do move. They do things. So, they want him to be able to be mobile, and he will not have practiced.
Is this going to be his choice when he comes back, or
No.
obviously the collaboration?
Oh, it'll absolutely be a collaboration. There's no way that they'll, let him decide that. He's got to be able to get out there and to be able to help the team and, move in the way that he needs to.
Curtis Webster was also signed, and as soon as that happened yesterday, you sort of knew it was going to be he'd be on the IL for for the whole year. Is he a player that they can count, that they figure they can count on in the future?
Yes, he's somebody that they kind of swiped out from underneath the Dolphins. The Dolphins wanted him to land on their own IR so that they could have him for next year. He was their draft pick. And, the Browns took advantage of that opportunity, and they saw him on the waiver wire, and they claimed him. That's the risk that you take when you put a guy through waivers.
Well, and that's the homework you do, too, because you're hoping something like that comes about, and you're ready to just go in and snatch the guy. Absolutely,
and that is what they did. And he's got really good upside potential as a pass rusher. He had 34 sacks at Boise State, and he comes in here with good size, good energy, good speed and explosiveness, and he's on IR with a foot, but again, somebody that they can hopefully count on maybe next year.
The scorecard on everybody, head coach, the general manager, it changes as you get closer and closer to the opening bell. What have we learned lately about Andrew Berry that we might not have known before? Is he more cautious than we thought? Is he more excitable? What is he going through here as they get close to the opening game?
I'd say in some cases he exercises caution when it comes to acquiring players, because there are a few players that I have, kind of advocated for and thought that maybe he should be very aggressive and go after them. For whatever reason, they haven't been a fit. Yannick Ngakoue, I thought was somebody that it would be good to bring him in. I don't know if there was anything more they could have done to get Jadeveon Clowney to come here. I don't know if they wanted to sweeten the pot as much as that would have taken. Clay Matthews is somebody that we've talked about a lot. And then, of course, Earl Thomas. He's a safety that has the character issues right now, and he doesn't fit the Browns' profile, the type of character they're going for right now. But there was part of me that was thinking that, maybe they would take a chance on a 7-time Pro Bowler like that and think that they could bring him in and try to work within the framework of the structure that they have here. But, the Baltimore Ravens have a great organization, and if they couldn't do it, then I'm sure Andrew Berry's thinking the Browns couldn't either.
Right, that was the clincher for me. If Baltimore couldn't keep him and keep him happy, I don't think that the Browns can do that. All right, do you feel a tension going on when you're out there? I know it's different each day and each week, but do you have an opening day tension that's going through the offices?
You know what? I'll tell you, I do sense a sense of urgency on the football field. Even this week, you could tell they only practiced for an hour today, but it was fast paced. They seem to know and understand that the regular season is bearing down upon them, and they've got to be ready to play a football game very, very soon. And the focus is there, the energy is there, and they're trying really hard. I think that the offense will look better, a lot better this week of practice and over the next 3 or 4 days because they're honing in on certain things, they're leaving some things behind, and they're trying to get better at just, a handful of things they can do really well.
Well, what you're saying is encouraging to me because what we kept hearing is that they were slow coming out of the box and it didn't seem to have that urgency, and now you're telling me they got it, and hopefully that tells us a little bit about this football team.
Well, I think in the beginning they were really just installing the offense for the very first time. Usually you have all of OTAs to do that, and that's when you work out the kinks. That's when you say, oh, yeah, this is what this play that I'm using this new terminology for looks like when I put it on the grass. Well, they never had that. So they had to work out all those issues in their first 3 days in pads, the first week of camp. So it's just been such an unusual situation for them. But they are working so hard at this, and I'm very impressed with this coaching staff and the way that they are bringing these players along.
216-575-0403. Mary Kay Cabot is with us, cleveland.com and the Plain Dealer. She'll be taking a couple of weeks off to do her real job. I thought she was going to put this up against that and choose this, but I guess I got to live with the consequences. But we're looking forward to getting her back in the regular season. So 216-575-0403 is the number. You can also follow us on Facebook. Respond to our Facebook question of the day. We post it up there in the morning. You respond to it all day long and all night, and we talk about it on the show that night on More Sports and Less Levine. Mary Kay Cabot with us, and we'll continue in a moment. Powered by cleveland.com.
Presque Isle Downs and Casino has sports betting. Use one of our 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet and watch your favorite games on one of our many HD televisions or visit our sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downs and Casino.
Do you like Ohio State football? Would you like to get information from me, Doug Lesmerises, about Ohio State football without having to look at my face? We have got the plan for you. Become an Ohio State text subscriber through cleveland.com. You send a text, 614-350-3315. What do you get? 2, 3, 4 texts right in your phone every day about Ohio State football. Inside information, polls, voting, all kinds of things. You can be on our podcast. We take tech subscriber questions on our Buckeye Talk podcast every week. If you really want to be involved with Ohio State football, in season or out of season, become an Ohio State tech subscriber from cleveland.com. Send a text to 614-350-3315. 14-day free trial. What do you have to lose? $3.99 a month after that. 614-350-3315. I'll see you in your phone.
Tri-C is here for you. Now more than ever, you need a post-secondary education. So I encourage you to start your journey here at Tri-C. The majority of fall classes will take place online, but we've added a variety of formats to meet your learning needs, and we've taken many steps to keep you safe on campus. Whether you're ready to get started or your four-year plans have changed, Tri-C is where futures begin.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
Hi, welcome back to More Sports and Les Levine. Les, Mary Kay, the Browns have a hole at safety, and they have money to spend. So CBS Sports lists Earl Thomas as a perfect fit for the Browns. They say this team's got money to burn, and more importantly, a sizable hole. With versatile rookie Grant Delpit suffering a season-ending Achilles injury, the Browns are set to count on Andrew Sendejo and Carl Joseph, two replacement-level vets. They've sniffed around a lot of big names, but this one just makes a lot of sense. And with the added bonus of Thomas bringing some inside info on an AFC North rival, they say that Earl Thomas is a perfect fit for the Browns. So Mary Kay, my question to you is this. Is there a chance that down the road that we see Earl Thomas in Berea?
You know what? I don't know that he fits the profile that the Browns are looking for in terms of real super high character guy. So I would have to say right now, I don't know that he's on the front burner for them. But, you can't rule anything out either because he's a 7-time Pro Bowler. He comes from the Ravens. He knows every single thing about the Ravens. I mean, my goodness, he would be about the best you could do in terms of scouting the Ravens and helping out from that standpoint. I just don't know if they want what he brings in terms of off-the-field baggage and just, some insubordination and other things, it seems like.
It's interesting, and I'd have to go back in the books and check it out, but it seems to me that there's so much talent out there at positions where the Browns have a need, but as much talent as there is, there's as many question marks about the players. And you don't have that perfect fit. We keep talking about perfect fits. You don't really have the perfect fit. You have perfect talent and perfect off-the-field stuff, but it doesn't seem to me that you're finding them together.
Yeah, at this point, it's hard. I mean, there are a few players left out there that I think would fit that bill, but a lot of times, at this point in the season, rosters are pretty well set, and if you're going to find a guy, even on another team's roster, he's disgruntled or there is some issue or something like that, or an Earl Thomas situation like you see this where he just couldn't fit in with a great team like the Ravens anymore. So it's hard at this point to find top talent, especially starting caliber.
All right, we're going back on Greedy Williams back and forth. What is the deal? Is he going to be okay? Is he not okay? Or aren't they sure at this point?
Well, he has some kind of a shoulder injury that has kept him out for the past several days. He went down the same day that Grant Delpit did. So It's been a while now for Greedy. So I'm hoping that he is okay for the Browns' sake because they really need him out there. He is their starting cornerback, and they cannot afford to lose him for any length of time right now. It is a little bit of a wait-and-see matter, still being evaluated. They're hoping that he responds to treatment and that he can get back sometime soon. But, I don't know if he'll be back in 2 weeks or not.
All right, so what do they do if he's not?
Well, they just have to look to other corners. I think at this point on the outside, they would probably start Terrence Mitchell. He was back today, so that was good. And then they would have M.J. Stewart. He was out today, replacing Kevin Johnson at nickelback. But you're starting to get into, you're starting to get down into your depth. And now Terrence Mitchell, he played a lot of good football last year. And remember, Greedy and Denzel both missed the first 4 games of the season. That was very significant.
Right. When you think about it, and you talk about Kevin Johnson with the lacerated liver, that just sounds horrible. How horrible is it in reality, though?
Well, it depends on the grade of the laceration. His happened to be minor, so that's great for the Browns. Because if it had been a serious laceration like Jordan Poyer suffered in 2016, his was a kidney. But it was very, very serious and almost life-threatening at one point. And he was out for over 4 months, sidelined for 4 months with that. So this one is mild. He should be back very soon. Again, maybe miss a game or 2 and then be back on that field.
If it's just a game or 2, there's enough talent to cover for that?
Yeah, I think so. It would help, again, if M.J. Stewart would get back, because he went in there and was making some plays in Kevin Johnson's place, and then he suffered a hamstring injury. So it's really been a rash of injuries to those defensive backs.
Well, those hamstrings don't go away, do they?
No, especially for guys like that have to really turn on the jets and full-on sprint. So it can be hard to get those healed.
216-575-0403 is the number to call if you want to talk to Mary Kay Cabot. You can do that right now, and we'll see what's going on as we head close. Opening day against the Baltimore Ravens coming up soon. And then, of course, Cincinnati Bengals come to Cleveland. Northeast Factory Direct, 3 great locations, plus the website. Check that out before you go anywhere, northeastfactorydirect.com. We are powered by cleveland.com. Mary Kay Cabot with us on More Sports and Les Levine.
Wow! Get Nature's Stone and never replace your garage flooring again. Act now for huge summer savings on our exclusive Nature's Blend stone. As low as $2.99 a square foot, plus
Many
installation.
schools are
Only
back.
Nature's Stone eliminates cracked, uneven concrete. And Nature's Stone never peels like cheap paints and coatings. Safe, beautiful garage flooring that's always backed by Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com. It's not just a floor. Wow! It's Nature's Stone!
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's Kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget. Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Many schools are back in session, and the fact that high school football will kick off tomorrow is because of the dedication and flexibility of students, parents, and school officials. That's especially true of the marching bands, as Dave Bacon found out in this edition of Bacon Bits.
The pandemic itself is new to all of us. But our students in this district in particular have done a phenomenal job. All our kids are wearing their masks. They're told to wear their mask at all times. You know, when they're at rehearsal, the only time they don't have it on is it's under their chin when they're playing. Once we finally got more guidance, we created a band camp plan, which basically split the band into 4 small groups. So now we're finally in a situation where we have a very limited rehearsal time. So we're here for about 2 hours, but the full group is staggered when they arrive so they can get screen and symptom checked, and then they stagger dismissal.
I would say this is a great way to transition from being with no one to being with an entire school.
We hadn't been doing a lot of stuff during this quarantine, so this was finally an opportunity for us to get out and see each other again.
The biggest challenge has definitely been maintaining 6 feet, but everybody's working really hard.
With the football team travels, we're still thinking about using our stadium, actually live streaming some performances of our kids, kind of in a tailgate fashion, and playing some of their music for the fans and for the parents and so forth. But that's definitely not what a normal season would be. We're not going to be traveling to away performances. We will participate here at home game and home venue performances. We're trying to come up with some clever performance opportunities for our students, hence kind of this opportunity right now that we were interested in something like this to publicize our kids' hard work. But I think it's important that if there is an opportunity for the students to safely have these experiences, it's incumbent on the adults to try to make the situation work.
All right, Les Levine, Mary Kay Cabot. One of the keys to the Browns' offense to be successful is Jedrick Wills' ability to transition to left tackle. So, Pro Football Focus had this to say about him. Wills' play is like Conklin's in that you can count on him to pave holes for the rushing attack, which Stefanski will love, but he isn't on that same near-elite level in pass protection, which still makes Wills a question mark entering 2020. There is reason to believe his pass protection might take some time to develop. He allowed 13 pressures in his final year at Alabama. So, Mary Kay, my question to you is this. What have you been able to tell about Jedrick Wills' ability to transition to left tackle so far?
Well, I would have to say it's going to be a work in progress. I mean, that's just how it's going to be. He's learning, and right now, they don't want to overwhelm him. They don't want to hurt his confidence. So, therefore, they're not even putting Myles Garrett over him. Right now, he's working over Jack Conklin. He's over there at left end working over right tackle Jack Conklin, while Jedrick Wills goes against Olivier Vernon. They kind of want him to work up to Myles Garrett and not lose his confidence. I would imagine we'd see it over the next few days, and that will help him get ready for the season. But I think that is telling that's how they're approaching it.
Yeah, I don't know how they can fend it off for so long. You got to play him eventually against Baltimore. You can't hold Myles Garrett back on that. So what if he fails on some plays? No big deal.
Yeah, I just think that they want him to get his sea legs first. I think they want him to make sure that he's ready for that. I think that there's a method to their madness with this, and they really just want to give him some time to work up to that a little bit, and then I think they'll give him, maybe a week and a half or so to get going against Myles. I think that they want to see how he can come up the learning curve a little bit more before they spring Myles on him full time.
This whole off season, all we heard about with Wills was can he make the switch right to left to right, and all that stuff. We haven't heard that much about technique and if he's actually accomplishing anything. What's the vibe out there now?
Well, again, I mean, we see ups and downs. We see in one-on-one drills sometimes he gets beat here and there, but everybody does. And I think they're pleased with his progress. I think they like what they've seen so far. They knew that it wasn't going to be a well-oiled machine right from the start. I mean, there's no way that you can take a 21-year-old kid out of college, move him from right to left tackle, the premier position on the offensive line, take away his entire offseason, and then throw him onto the field and put him in some pads a couple of weeks before the season and think that it's just going to be perfect. So, it is what it is right now, and he's got a ways to go, but I think he's doing okay for now.
All right, this is just a reminder. We're about halfway through the show, and you have not used the word truncated yet, so I just want to make sure that you know that you're on the clock.
Well, you know what, Les? They had a truncated practice today. I will tell you that.
Excellent.
It was supposed to be 2 hours. They cut it down to one.
That's
right?
That's as truncated as you can get.
I didn't have to try too hard for that one.
There you go. All right, tell me, you can't go this close to the opening day, the first game of the regular season, without getting a Baker Mayfield update. What are you hearing? What does the play look like out there? Does it look like it's really improved, or is he still going with what he's got?
You know what? It looks like it's getting better as the days go by. Again, there's been a lack of continuity amongst some of the skill players. You haven't really had, you don't look out there every single time and see Jarvis and Odell in pads. I mean, they're coming off surgeries and they're, pacing themselves and taking their time. You don't have your starting center out there right now. You've got your left tackle who's still learning. So it's not, again, it's not what you would want it to be in November if they were trying to make the playoffs. But for a training camp practice in August, I think they're making the progress that they need to make. And I don't think the sky is falling. I think they can do enough things well that they won't embarrass themselves in a football game, and they'll give themselves a chance.
Yeah, how about handing the ball off to two of the best running backs in the league? That I think I could do that.
Yeah, I mean, those guys are so fast and so powerful that, and you can you can mix and match those guys. You can create mismatches with them. And then you've got Austin Hooper, who looks really good, although he did end up on the ground on the first play of team today. He was on the ground, and he kind of got up slowly, kind of hopping around on an ankle, and favored it a little bit the rest of the practice. So hopefully for him and for the Browns, he'll be back out there tomorrow. But I wouldn't be surprised if he was maybe taking a little Veterans Day of rest tomorrow to let that thing just settle down a bit.
Okay, what's going on with Nick Chubb? Is he cleared with the protocol, or is that still in doubt?
No, he's cleared. I mean, he's running. He's in pads. He seems to be going full go, and he looks really, really good, really explosive. And 1 minute you look out there and you see Nick just blasting through there, and then the next minute you look up and you see Kareem Hunt, and you just wonder, how are they going to divide up the workload between these two guys when they are both such terrific backs?
Well, it's a nice problem to have.
It really is, and I'll tell you that people wonder how are they going to pay these guys? How are they going to make them happy? They need to find a way, because they're an incredible 1-2 punch, reminiscent of the Kevin Mack, Ernest Biner sort of situation.
216-575-0403. Mary Kay Cabot is here, powered by cleveland.com. And tomorrow night you got the weekend winners with Dave Bacon. Monday night we'll be back with somebody. And Bud Shaw on Tuesday, Dennis Maniloff on Wednesday. 216-575-0403 is our number to call. Don't forget the Parkinson's event coming up. It's a walkathon, actually, and it benefits the group that I'm involved in, which is events at beinmotion.com. And my team's name is Moving More with Less. Hopefully you'll join us. Mary Kay and several other people from the show have done that, and we appreciate that very much. And to all the people who have sent money in or pledges, couldn't appreciate it anymore. Be in Motion is a great place, and it provides all the work that they give is absolutely free and very much appreciated by caregivers and patients themselves. We'll take a break. We'll come on back in a moment. More sports, and Les Levine is exclusively here and powered by cleveland.com.
You don't have to put your future on hold. At Tri-C, you can move ahead while staying safe and saving money. The majority of fall classes will take place online, but we've added a variety of formats to meet your learning needs, and we've taken many steps to keep you safe on campus. Whether you're ready to get started or your four-year plans have changed, check out Tri-C's programs and resources, because Tri-C is where futures begin.
Well, hello everyone. Let me tell you a little bit about Brown's Football Insider. For only $3.99 a month, you can get text sent right to your phone each day from me, Dan Lobby, Scott Pasco, and Ellis Williams. In addition to that, you'll receive a Football Insider newsletter every day with special things from us, things that you won't see anywhere else on the site. You'll get breaking news, analysis, features, film breakdown, and things like that. Texting us directly gives you a great chance to cut through the clutter of Facebook, Twitter, other social media, and avoid the trolls. Also, it's the only way to get your questions on the Orange and Brown Talk podcast. So why should you sign up? Try a 14-day free trial. You can cancel at any time. All it takes is one text, but you won't want to cancel. We have hundreds of subscribers join us over the last year. They love it and have stayed with us. We're seeing the Football Insider community grow every week, and it's only $3.99 a month, which is less than 14 cents a day. What I like most about Football Insider is the opportunity to connect with you one-on-one and really communicate with you. So how can you become a Football Insider? You can click on cleveland.com/Browns, the blue banner at the top of the page. Or easier yet, text me at 216-208-3965. Again, that's 216-208-3965.
It takes attention to detail. With your local Bryant dealer, you're getting more than just a technician. You're getting someone who pays attention to your needs and the little things that make a big difference. It takes a dealer you can rely on. And to keep your family warm this winter,
here, let me show you how this works.
It takes Bryant.
Bryant. Whatever it takes.
And to keep your family comfortable, it takes Smiley One Heating and Cooling. Find them at smiley1.com.
Let's take a look at this date in sports history. Ricky Henderson. Ricky is number one, 119th base stolen in the year, passing up Lou Brock in his record for the modern era. He would finish the season with 130 stolen bases. Ricky being Ricky. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. All right, we got to send out some report cards here, Mary Kay. Mary Kay Cabot with us from the cleveland.com and the Plain Dealer. Who's coming out of the woodwork here and winning the training camp so far that you might not have expected?
Let me think here. One guy that's really started to come on strong lately, and he's an old name that we knew from the past that connected very well with Baker Mayfield, and that is Rashard Higgins. He's had an opportunity to get in there and play a lot because Odell and Jarvis, again, have been in and out with their while they recover from their surgery. So Rashard Higgins had 2 touchdown catches today in short yardage situations. So, he's really kind of come along.
What was the problem that he hadn't come along up until now? I mean, it seemed like a wide open area for him to just take a spot and run with it.
Well, I'll tell you, Kadero Hodge was looking really good, but he has missed the past week with a personal reason, so he's not been here at all. And it's just kind of been there for the taking, that third wide receiver spot. And so now he's kind of stepped up in there, and he's had an opportunity to show what he can do, again, in part now with Jarvis and Odell not being able to be in there all the time. So for him to start catching some touchdown passes, which he's always had that connection with Baker, it's good to see that.
All right, so that's good news. Is there some bad news out there other than injuries? Somebody losing the training camp or losing their position that they thought they had pretty well locked up?
Well, one guy to keep an eye on is Chad Thomas. I mean, he did suffer a little bit of a neck injury and missed a couple days with that. He was back out there today. But he's really got to step up his game over the next couple of weeks in order to, possibly even make the team, because There are guys that are playing better than him and ahead of him on the depth chart right now at defensive end. So, I don't know if they would be willing to part with him at this point yet, but he definitely needs to show a little more than he has so far.
Mary Kay, it happens every year. You get to this point in the season, then the season begins, and you look down on the field and you see a number and a name that you hadn't seen before. Is there anybody maybe that fills that bill right now, or is it too early to tell?
Well, one guy that might fit that category would be B.J. Goodson. He's the middle linebacker, and when they're in two linebackers, he's out there on the field as well for that. He's very vocal. He's very active. I think he's looking at this as an opportunity to really put himself on the map and nail down a full-time starting job. And he's just kind of really embraced this opportunity. So I think he's definitely somebody to watch.
Hey, just in general terms, in the locker room or outside the locker room, when guys start getting injured and it seems like they're just piling up with these injuries, what does that do to the psyche of the team, or doesn't it do anything? Is it every man for himself?
I don't think at this point it's doing anything to the psyche of the team. I think these guys are so focused in and so locked in on getting better and learning the schemes and doing the installation. I just think that they really do, even though it's so cliche, I think they do have the next man up mentality. And when they look over next to them and they see a different guy than was there the day before, they just keep doing their job.
Well, they should introduce themselves first, I would think.
Well, it was a truncated practice. They didn't have time.
One per hour, not one per half hour. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Mary Kay Cabot is with us, does a great job with covering the Cleveland Browns for so many years, and nobody does it better, that's for sure. And you can find her on cleveland.com and the Plain Dealer. Northeast Factory Direct, 3 locations on the website. NortheastFactoryDirect.com with the price guarantee. You've got it. Alex in the business over 20 years. He knows exactly what you need, and he provides for that. We'll come back in a moment. Mary Kay and I are powered by cleveland.com.
Never replace your basement flooring again. Act now for huge summer savings on our exclusive Nature's Pearl Stone, as low as $2.99 a square foot plus installation. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today. It's not just a floor.
Wow, it's Nature's Stone. When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just a mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Presque Isle Downs and Casino has sports betting. Use one of our 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet and watch your favorite games on one of our many HD televisions, or visit our sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downs and Casino.
Birthdays for today, August 27th, Stand Up, born on this date. Buddy Bell, former Indian. Michael Dean Perry, former Brown. Robert Burnett. And Jim Toney is 50? Darren McFadden. Mary Kay, how does that happen that Jim Toney gets to be 50?
I don't know. When I hear some of the ages of some of these former players that we've known so well, it really does kind of blow my mind how time has gone. I mean, I don't know.
I don't know about you, but I get mixed up by decades. I used to get mixed up by seasons. Take a look at a player and I'd pin it down where he was. Now, if I could get in within the decade, I think I'm doing well.
Oh, I know. And then with the Cleveland Browns, I'll tell you what, I can't remember which coach went with which quarterback, or what defensive coordinator went with what. I mean, I'm starting to lose track of all that. I'm like, I'm going to need to make a chart to remind myself of, all of those things, and it just gets very confusing after a while.
Or if you make mistakes by like several decades, then they'll think you're like the crazy uncle at a party.
Well, I'm almost to that point.
Okay. Let me know how it is when you get there. All right, we got a Facebook question of the day. What do you think is the biggest strength of the 2020 Cleveland Browns? Josh Woodard says the talent they have on offense is capable of being the best in the NFL. They've got studs everywhere. They could easily have the best wide receiver and running back tandems in the league. Added the best offensive lineman and the best tight end in free agency. Just run the offense the way it's supposed to be run, and you'll be fine. He's a guy. He's predicting Super Bowl, I would guess. Larry Pantages says the biggest strength I think that Jimmy Haslam has is money, and he's willing to spend it. Now it's time to allow the general manager to recover from a bad judgment as opposed to mistakes in the front office have made in the past. And we've been writing since 2012 for that to sink in. By the way, you can contact us on the voicemail of Truth and Reason at 216-200-6650 if you'd like to do that. Any of the 23 hours other than the hour we're on the air from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. And that, of course, is Eastern Time. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Mary Kay Cabot is with us. Mary Kay, it's kind of foolish for people to say, well, it's no big deal. Everybody's got the same circumstances. If there's a new coach, if there's something to do with the pandemic or whatever, it's not equal. I'm not looking for an excuse or trying to make an excuse, but what they're going through this year and at this present time is really not fair. They have no choice, but it's also not fair.
Well, it's not. I mean, think about this. That's why they usually give first-time head coaches an extra mini camp. They give them a longer time in OTAs. You get to start the conditioning program sooner. They give you a little bit of a running start. They never got that. They didn't get to have an extra mini camp. They didn't have any mini camp. They didn't have any OTAs. And, in listening to Kevin Stefanski talk today about social justice and how his players have responded and putting together this social justice committee and everything, boy, you know what? For a 38-year-old man, he is a grown-up. I mean, this is an adult. He can handle this situation. This is a challenge, what he's got going right now. To try to field a football team and go out and play against the Ravens in 2 weeks under these circumstances, and he is not sweating. I mean, he is out there saying the right things, doing the right things, and just coaching up this football team.
Does he seem to be a guy who, at this stage of the beginning of his career, that he's on the precipice of about to embark? I just used two bad words together on that, and I shouldn't do that in front of Mary Kay. Does he give off the vibe that he's not that he's nervous, but he's really expectant and can't wait to see what unfolds, or is he pretty much in control of the situation?
He's a flatliner, just like Brad Childress told me he was going to be. He does not show strain or stress or any of those things. And I'll tell you, I've seen coaches even at this point in their first seasons already showing the stress. And I don't know. I'm sure he has it. And then think about this too. He goes home to 3 small school-age children that he's got. That's crazy and chaotic in and of itself. Usually,
maybe that's why he took this job, to get away from that.
Or I was going to say, at least it was crazy in my house. Maybe it's not in his house, but
right.
It was in mine. But he's got a lot on his plate. Sunday he was awakened at 4 a.m. with the news that he had tested positive for COVID and couldn't go to practice that day, only to find out that it was a false positive. But, whoever has to go through something like that in their first year on the job.
Some coaches probably don't say, well, they woke me up. They'll probably say, oh, no, I was working hard at the job.
Yeah, 4 a.m. Pat Shermer used to wake up at 4 a.m. consistently. That was his wake-up call was 4 a.m. And I don't know how those guys do it. Some of them don't sleep very much.
Well, that's the problem with some of these guys. I mean, Dick Vermeil started it off, and it never really stopped. So you're confident that, at least from that point of view, that Stefanski has his ducks in a row right now. Oh, here's what I really wanted to ask about him, though. Tom Withers said something the other day that he's changing a little bit. He's growing a little bit from these news conferences and the Zoom calls and all. He wishes he would start at the beginning and say, okay, this guy's injured, this guy's back, and all that. Is there something that he's not doing that you've seen other coaches do and have been successful at it, or is it let him figure it out himself?
Well, I would agree with Tom on that. I would just go get the injuries out of the way at the beginning, and then that way we don't have to spend the whole press conference asking him about this guy and that guy and this guy, because you tend to, I mean, you can see that they do get a little bit annoyed with all the injury questions. You know, they just don't want to talk about injuries. They would rather really talk about football and maybe something good that's happening. They want to hear about the defense, not just the offense. So I agree with Tom. I think it would be a good idea just to start it off and just say, hey, you know, Greedy's not going to be out there today. He's, you know, still got the shoulder.
Right.
You know, just run through it and then we move on.
Well, is that a PR question, or is it an individual coach's decision?
It's an individual coach's decision. I'm sure Peter probably has told it. Peter John Baptiste probably has said, hey, you might want to, you know, just get that out of the way or whatever. I think Kevin's doing it the way that he wants to do it, and he might be doing it the way that he saw other coaches that he admire do it. So I'm sure there's a method to his madness.
All right, we're coming back one more time with Mary Kay Cabot. Give us your best shot, Mary Kay, when we get back. More Sports and Les Levine continues, and powered by cleveland.com.
Wow! Get Nature's Stone and never replace your garage flooring again. Act now for huge summer savings on our exclusive Nature's Blend Stone, as low as $2.99 a square foot plus installation. Only Nature's Stone eliminates cracked, uneven concrete, and Nature's Stone never peels like cheap paints and coatings. Safe, beautiful garage flooring that's always backed by Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com. It's not just a floor.
Wow, it's Nature's Stone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's Kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget, Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
Weekend winner edition tomorrow night. Dave Bacon will have it. Dan Lobby will be with him. That's Dan on the left, not on the right. And you see us Monday through Friday from 6 until 7. Replayed, we archive it all day long, but you see us live from 6 until 7 p.m., and that is Eastern Time. 216-575-0403 if you have a question in the last minute or two for Mary Kay Cabot. Mary Kay, you're not going to be here a couple of weeks. We'll get back when the regular season started. So I think, is this the right time to ask you for a prediction for the season?
Oh, boy. Yeah, you can go ahead and ask me for a prediction. I don't think I pinned it down between all along I've thought 9 and 7. All these injuries have made me question that a little bit, because now I'm a little bit more worried about a few things, especially I would say probably defensively right now. But I'm still going to go with 9 and 7. I've picked it a lot of years in the past. One of these years, I'm going to be right.
You're going to get it right. Absolutely. All right. So 9 and 7, we officially stamp it in the book. Which injury or which situation bothers you the most or concerns you the most at this point?
Well, I'm going to say Grant Delpit because, we know for sure that he's out for the season. But I think Mac Wilson is pretty significant and serious as well because, he could miss half the season with his hyperextended knee. It doesn't look like he's going to have the surgery now, but he could still be out a significant amount of time. I still think Grant Delpit is worse because he's lost for the year and he was going to play a big role.
Yeah. How about Jimmy Haslam? Has he been vocal at all, or is he keeping his mind in his office and holding off when he's voicing his opinions?
You know what? Just low profile. We only talked to Jimmy and Dee one time during training camp, kind of right at the start of training camp, and then that's sort of it.
It's got to be by design, right?
Yeah, that's by design. So we really won't be hearing much more from them unless there are some, social justice issues maybe that they want to weigh in on.
And finally, they put out a proposal for tickets at the game, talking about, 25,000 people maybe? Is that what the report was?
Not even that many. I don't think they would be allowed to have, because if it's 20%, that would be a little bit less than 14,000 is
Okay.
what I think.
What do you think will happen here?
Well, I almost think that it's going to have to be uniform between the Bengals and the Browns. I think they're going to have to come up with something where both teams in Ohio are permitted to do the same thing. And I think the mayors and the governor that they should kind of get on the same page with that.
Well, it seems to me it should be the same throughout all of football as opposed to state by state. But I haven't been right on this thing in 6 months, so what do I know?
Well, I agree with you. I don't think it's fair for one team to have fans and another team not to have fans. So I think at this point they really should make it uniform.
All right, that'll do it for us. Thanks to Mary Kay Cabot, and we're looking forward to getting her back as the season progresses. Good luck. Have a great year, Mary Kay.
Sounds good. I'll see you in a few.
You got it. All right, Mary Kay Cabot, Cleveland Plain Dealer, and, of course, cleveland.com. All right, that'll do it for us. Dan Lobby will join Dave Bacon tomorrow, the Weekend Winners Edition. That'll be, of course, from 6 to 7 p.m. Eastern Time. I'll be back on Monday and throughout all of next week as we get ready for the Browns. And, of course, the Indians, who are playing very well right now, taking 2 of 3 from Minnesota with a big game last night and a big recovery from Mike Clevenger, that is for sure. That'll do it for us. Of all the shows I've ever done, this was the most recent.